Hey guys, and welcome to the match in full for episode number 3 of Foosball Focus, which is the second week of the points race. Now on the right side of the table you will see Justin West and Mark Davis. On the left side of the table is myself and Brad Kuszak. And basically what I'm going to do, guys, in this is talk through the match, talk about what went well for both teams, what didn't go so well, maybe talk a little bit about my thought process and my plan going into the match, seeing as I am in this particular video. I can afford to do that. But yeah, it's just going to be about what's going on and kind of narrating, you know, what I think people should have done differently, maybe, that kind of thing. So it's definitely not a Jim Stevens style play-by-play video. I appreciate there is only one Jim Stevens, that man is a god, and I definitely cannot do something like that. So it's just going to be talking about the match and observing kind of what's going on. And as Mark scores a bank from the back there to make it 2-1, it looks like, in the score. And I'll tell you a little bit about my game plan going into this. You know, I know that Mark Davis, when I play against him, usually tends to leave me a lot of push sides, because that's my weaker side usually on the snake shot. So I know that, so I've started out this match really trying to go push side a lot. But so far that hasn't really worked out, and Mark's been blocking the push side pretty well. Also on the 5 bar, I know Justin likes to leave me wall passes early on in my series, so I've been trying to go wall pass, but Justin's been blocking that as well. So my kind of game plan going into this one hasn't worked out so far. As you see, Mark, for the second time in a row, score from the back when he gets the ball. So already down 3-1, it's not looking good for myself and Brad, and Justin's kind of all over my 5 bar right now. And he hasn't really been missing a whole lot when he's been shooting. Justin's snake shot, I mean, honestly, I think if I had Justin's snake shot, I think I would be one of the top 15, maybe 20 players in the world. I just think he's just got really excellent mechanics for his snake shot. Really, really long, really smooth. Doesn't always pick the hole the best, but yeah, his snake shot is phenomenal. Should be an interesting one, this one as well, because you've got on the left side of the table with myself and Brad, as Brad gets stuffed there to lose the first game 5-1. You got Brad, who's ranked 26th locally, and myself, I'm ranked number 1. And then you have Mark Davis ranked at number 12 and Justin at number 3. So, you know, in terms of the ranking style, it should make for an interesting game, but Justin and Mark just kind of trashed us the first game 5-1, so maybe not as interesting as I thought. But you can see there, I did score a snake shot and I ended up going middle. I kind of abandoned my push side strategy a little bit, because Mark seems to be really favouring that side at the moment. That was a really nice pass actually by Justin. I said to myself, I'm going to challenge him to do a really nice lane pass. I was going to kind of race the lane, but stay on the wall, and he ended up making a real deep brush pass, so that was a good pass. But our fortunes are slightly better off in this one. We're 1-0 ahead, whereas we were kind of always chasing in that first game. And I think that first game kind of gave me a little bit of a kick in the ass, to be honest, to kind of focus, and let's see what I do here. So again, I worked the push side, but the difference there is I saw Mark switched his D to a reverse D, and I don't see Mark do reverse D very often, so when he does it, I kind of assume that the push side is more open than the pull side, and that's why I went push there. Brad's made a couple of blocks now on Justin, so maybe we can get on a roll here and get quite ahead in this second game. So second week of the points race, as Mark tries a slingshot there from the back. Second week of the points race, you can see that Justin and I have played the final the first week and the second week now, so a pattern starting to develop already, with Justin being really on form at the moment, making the final both weeks, and I'm playing pretty well myself. We always tend to have a pretty interesting battle on the 5 bar as well. It kind of goes both ways. I think I can block his 5 pretty well, but I think actually he blocks my 5 better than most people locally as well. So you can see here there's a lot of back and forth, and it's kind of a guessing game with us, because I know that he knows that I know that he knows that I like to do wall passes, and so it's kind of like trying to mix it up. Again with the snake shot, let's see what I do here. I've started to kind of go away from the push side. Except there I went push side and Mark was there, or I think I missed the goal even, and I think I do the same thing again. And so this strategy of going to the push side really overall isn't working. And Mark's doing a great job of counter-attacking my game plan with his own well thought out game plan. Brad so far has done a pretty good job of clearing the ball from the back. I was worried about that going into the match. As I say that, he turns it over. Because Justin is one of the best offensive players at putting pressure on a 2-bar. He can stuff you, he can generate turnovers. He's really good at just instinctively knowing where to be against a 2-bar possession. And so with Brad being on paper the weakest player on the team, I was really concerned about that going into the match. But actually Brad held his own pretty well, and he didn't turn over the ball all that often. And that was a great example of ball retention there from Brad. He kept the ball in his area. Guys, if you want to be one of the best goalies, it's so important to keep the ball in your area and not let that ball trickle out and go to the 3-bar of your opponent where he gets a free shot at goal. Again, there you see the same thing. It looked like it was going to leave his area, but Brad was able to stab at it to keep it in his area. You know, these are good skills to have as a goalie. Excuse me, I must apologize. I am really sick right now. I've got a cold and a sore throat, and so I sound pretty groggy. See what I do here. Oh, I look like I try a quick pull side and completely whiff. And I went pull side and it was open. So, from so far what's happened in the game, if I'm able to kind of keep aware of, keep a mental note of what's been happening, the pull side has worked out much better for me, and the straight than the push side has. You know, it's not the easiest thing to kind of keep those things in your memory when you're shooting. You often just think about the next one, but that's what separates the best players from the less best players. Is that a phrase? Is that a real thing? Probably not. It's what separates the good players from the great players, I should say. Great players really keep a mental log of what's happened so far, and by the end of the game they can tell you roughly how well they've done. I can't tell you how many matches I've gone through where I thought, wow, I shot like 90% in that game, but really maybe I only shot 50%. It's just funny how your mind plays tricks on you. But look, they've made a switch here in this second game. They're down 3-0, and Mark Davis has kind of made an executive decision to go up front just to try something different, and who knows, if they get a point here, maybe they kind of fight their way back into the match. So I like their decision to switch at 3-0. Give us something new to look at, but Mark wasn't able to catch his first pass. Brad goes for a sweeping long pull shot from the back. I think at 3-0, with Brad having the confidence, with a new forward up front as well, he kind of figured this was a good time to let one rip, so I don't blame him for trying that. It's a pretty nice pull kick from the back from Justin. It did clip one of my guys. I think it was going wide, and ended up going in the goal, because my zone doesn't usually let many pull kicks go by, but nonetheless he was able to put it in the goal. And now against Justin, he does a much slower defense, so my game plan against Justin is usually to wait till he freezes and kind of commits, and then when he does that, I just go for the open hole, and in this case it was a straight, and I felt like that was the right thing to do at that point. See, I think they should have switched back at this point. It's all very well switching at 3-0 to try and get back into the game, but guys, when that doesn't work out, that first possession, I think it's in your best interest to put the forward back up front, as he's been hot, as I hit a pull side there, and I think we won that game 5-0. But yeah, just going back to that thought, I think at 3-0 down, there's no harm in changing and letting your goalie go up front and see if he can get you back into the match. But if that first possession doesn't work out, I see no real reason to continue with him up front. It's almost like kind of throwing the game away a little bit. You might as well put your forward back up there and see if he can claw you back into it one ball at a time. Brad making another block here. And I do actually make a point of this in the highlights video on the main episode of Foosball Focus. That was a wicked pass by Brad there. I was able to catch that one. And let's see what I do here. Again, the push has not been working out for me. And I go pull side again and it works. So I've kind of cottoned on to the fact now that Mark is camping on that push side, and I've made an adjustment. So now it's Mark's turn to kind of make that adjustment. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, Justin didn't go straight. He hasn't gone straight so far once in this match, and I can kind of, a little bit of a spoiler alert, I can tell you that he doesn't go straight for the entire match. And you know, watch Brad's defense. I think there are times when the straight's on, he kind of, when his left hand, that is say his goalie, is on the straight shot, he's kind of floating in and out of it, so much so that I don't believe his left hand is actually covering the straight all that often. But Justin was kind of getting flustered and wasn't doing that well on the 5 bar, and we've all been there. You know what it's like when you're kind of flustered, the match isn't going your way, and so you're not able to think 100% clearly. And that's, I think, what was happening with Justin, because I think if Justin's ahead in this match, you know, he's able to think a bit more clearly, but the whole stress of the situation of us just winning 5-0 was playing on his mind. You can see here, let's take a look at Brad's defense. He's kind of going from one side to the other, and that was just a really bad turnover from Justin, especially in the third game at 1-0. But I waste it with a push side. What's the definition of madness, guys? Trying the same thing over and over again and getting the same result. Is that how it goes? Something like that. But you can see almost every time I've tried a push side, he's been there. So it's definitely better if I was to go to the pull side. And that was a wicked push kick actually from Mark. I usually don't leave the push kick on my zone either, so I don't really know where that one went. I've watched that one back a few times, and it was just a really tight hole. So 1-1 in the third. I really begin to kind of start to take my time here, as I realise the importance of the situation. And I kind of got focused basically from the start of the second game. My focus was better, and again I went to the pull side and it worked out for me. Mark showing me a shake defense there. I think he's recognizing that his game plan isn't working now, and so he's making an adjustment. So it's a really good cat and mouse game going on back there. Really fun to watch. Brad, on the other hand, is kind of sticking to the same defense, and actually that one came off the corner of the goal. That was open, so Justin's a little unlucky on that one. Brad was kind of caught in an I formation almost, and that was a wicked pass. I said to Brad actually at the end of game 2, I said, work the insides with your 2-bar, do passes, do short sliders, stuff like that, because Justin is really good at blocking all the middle to long type stuff. So and Brad, to his credit, completely took that on board and started passing inside, and it really worked out for him. He stopped turning the ball over, he wasn't getting stuffed, he was really becoming productive back there. You can see here again, there's big middles, Brad's leaving huge middles, and Justin's, instead of taking a middle, he's trying to time the push side, which, you know, is not bad if you're good at timing it as well, but the middle I think looks pretty easy on that defense there. Actually, and that was a huge point. I did a tic-tac at 2-1. I checked it a couple of times earlier in the match when I was setting the ball up, and I could tell Mark was kind of forgetting that I do that sometimes, and so I used it at 2-1, where I figured if we make this, we go 3-1, and really it can be a real momentum shift, because first of all it's a tic-tac, so it kind of looks a little humiliating, and it can mentally frustrate your opponent, but not only that, from 2-1, when I've thought about doing what was basically an ace in the hole for me, I'd saved that up the whole match. It was a really good time for me to use it to go up 3-1, to give us that 2-point cushion so we can afford to take a few more risks. And again, Brad working the inside there, and you can see it was to good effect. I wasn't able to catch that one, but it was a great clear by him. And Justin's kind of just lost his way here. He's missed quite a few shots in a row, and on the 5 bar I'm putting enough pressure on him to kind of get him frustrated with how the match is going. Excuse me. And I opted to go for a kind of quick pull side set on that one. And again, they make the switch. I see no harm in this. You know, Mark's making the right call here at 4-1. You got nothing to lose. Justin's not really been playing all that solid this game, so who knows? Mark goes up there, maybe he scores a couple, and then they get right back in it. And Mark is a great forward as well. He can pass the ball at a good rate, and he has a great snake shot. So. Oh, and that one rags in. And that is going to do it, guys. I hope that was a little more interesting than just watching the match in full. So yeah, let us know what you think, and see you next week.